Ah. So, as I was saying, man, this is my normal thing. I got music playing and so forth when I'm editing. It just, I have to have music going. You know what I'm saying? When I'm editing, it's just kind of natural thing. I got my iTunes radio usually playing, or just something. I have a few music apps on my phone that I'll usually play. This is the hazelnut brown nectar from Rogue. Kind of one of my go-to browns for sure. If I'm gonna if I'm gonna buy a brown that's not local, it's definitely probably this one. This is the 2011, 2012 gold medal winner from the Great American Beer Festival. It's no charge, a definite solid. And I'm gonna go to a screen share here in a minute. But I thought I would do it this way instead of making like a total screen share. The programs I have are aren't quite as good. So I thought I would just do it this way live. It'll go right to Google, and you can watch it on YouTube later if you want, and give people a chance to ask questions and stuff. So I'm going to do this for an hour, see how it goes, and whatever. If someone wants to ask a question about photography, editing, whatever, man, you can jump in and ask. I don't know how often I can do this, but I'm off tonight at work, so I just was gonna just do some solid editing. So I'm gonna go to a screen share right here. I'm gonna go right to my Lightroom. Let me make sure that's the right, yeah, and start the screen share. And the reason I'm doing it this way is so that I can go back and forth. And let me see. I hope this is. Let me see. Yeah, it should be showing it, right? So, okay. Let me see. I'll lower the music a little bit. I don't want it to be too distracting for you. So, I got this image. I pretty much finished this one. Okay. And you can toggle F here to. It says no photos selected. Duh. So let me go over here. There, then I'll select it and go to F. Yep, still says no photo selected. Why? I'm looking at the darn photo. Yeah, see, it's right there. Now, see, this is what I don't know. I don't know if you can see both screens. I've got two screens going, and Lightroom is great with that because I'll have a grid going on one screen, or sometimes a loop, or sometimes a compare going on one screen, and then on my other screen, I'll have my main image that I'm working on. So it's kind of like my MacBook Pro screen, even though it's a smaller screen, it's a better quality screen, calibrated and so forth, versus my 27-inch screen is a really cheap Acer monitor, and Acer makes fantastic monitors, but the one that I got's really cheap. I just basically use it for real estate so that I can see a big grid or just my image really big while I'm working on it or something. And that was what I was having a hard time with. I was like, well, how can I show people what I'm doing and yet at the same time, so I'm having a little bit of a hard time with that but in any case, I'll just, now that I know it's just showing you I'll just worry about the one screen. Okay, great. So I'm going to go here and I'm hoping, you know what, let me turn off that second window for just a minute so I can make sure. I don't want to be want to make sure that what you're seeing. Boy, let me see. Let me go here. Sorry, let me just take an extra minute or two and make sure. We put this screen over here. Okay, and so that way I can double check and. Okay, so you're able to see my mouse and everything. I just had to make sure of that before I start jabbering away here. Okay, now I can set my window back. There we go. So now I know what you're seeing. All right. So you can see my cursor and everything. So I'm going to go over here and copy this setting. that I have from this image that I already did the way I want. And as you can see, I have these, I have the white balance clicked. In my basic tones here, I've got pretty much everything there clicked, well, checked. Tonal curve, clarity, sharpening, treatment, I've got all that checked. My split toning, I don't. Local adjustments, I don't. Effects, I don't. The process version, I don't. Because I kind of do that on my own ahead of time anyway. The crop factor, I don't, and the spot removal, I don't. I don't want to copy those things. I want to copy everything else from this image to this next image. So here I go. I'm clicking on this next one. And I have this white balance set from the gray card, and it was okay and stuff, but then I decided I wanted a whole different setting, so it's easier to just copy and paste it. So then I'll paste most of the settings from that other photo onto this one. You can see the change immediately. Okay, I'll go here and pull up a before and after, and I have an older MacBook Pro, so it takes a second or two for these adjustments to happen, right? And I'm pretty used to that. That's why I have a beer. So it allows me time to let me just turn that whole thing off for a second, the music. So that gives you a look at what and darn it, there's a shortcut to get through all these really quick, but I forgot what it is. So but you can just click this one here, and it should go right back to the after. See, like you can go right here, before and after, to the left, right, which is this view, and then you can just click this. There's a shortcut key for it, but you got this right there. Just move your mouse. Okay, now I'm gonna go back to my browser here so I can go off of the screen share because I want to show you my mouse. There we go. I want to show you my mouse. Okay, I have the Mighty Mouse. So a lot of what I'm going to do is this touch sensitive mouse. It's actually moving my darn browser right now. But a lot of what I'm going to be doing is going up and down. So when I'm zooming in and out and stuff like that, I know a lot of people use Wacom tablets and different tablets to edit, and that makes it easier, and they use the pen and so forth. But if I was on a regular standard mouse, I could see that, the 2-button mouse with the scroll wheel, and it's a little difficult to edit. But I don't know, man, using this darn Mighty Mouse from Apple, God, it's touch sensitive and stuff, and it just makes, I don't know, I don't really. And I've heard that once you use a tablet, a Wacom tablet, I mean, something like that to edit with Lightroom or Photoshop, that it would make it so much easier. It's after using it that you recognize the difference, because I really don't miss it. And maybe it's because I just don't know what I'm missing. So, and I'm sure that's what it is. That I haven't used it. So I don't know what I'm missing. I'm sure that's what it is. So back to the screen share. That way, if I'm referencing my Mighty Mouse, you know what it looks like. Okay, I already pasted the settings from the previous photo onto this one. What I like to do is my workflow on this image, my next thing would be to possibly get to some of these slightly bigger. I'm too zoomed in. So I'll come here and then zoom out a little more. But I like to get to some of these blemishes. And I don't know, man. See, I can slide, just like I was showing you, my finger up and down my mouse here, and really adjust this quickly. The diameter of my circle here for my, what do they call this? The spot removal tool, okay? And I forget the names of these tools because I'm so used to the shortcut keys. Like the shortcut is just a Q, so you can toggle it on and off with the Q. And for me, it's easier. It's easier to have I'm left-handed, so I have my left hand on my mouse and my right hand my finger on the cue, and I'll just quickly in and out of this bad boy. And like you can see the hand there, I'm out of the tool, so now I can kind of move around the image as I want. And I don't know, I'm really used to this workflow. I bang it out really quick, or as quick as I can with this old computer. Um, but you can just move here and click, and sometimes it does take my machine a few minutes. If you are on an older machine, sometimes what helps me too, you can see right here I have the original plus smart preview. Sometimes it helps me to, I'll eject my my external hard drive that I'm using, and that will speed up my machine uh, while I'm editing. So sometimes that speeds things up, and sometimes like today I'm actually, I don't know, for whatever reason the computer gods are working with me, and I can edit pretty quickly. And today seems like one of those days where it may be slower than your machine still. I'm sure you have a newer machine. This is a 2008 machine, man. So it's or 2009, one of the two. But it's old, I know, and I'm that guy that's every 500 to $1,000 he gets, I have to really think about where I spend that money. Every dollar counts right now. That's the stage I'm at. So um, right now I have to put it into certain equipment, and right now I just have to plan on taking extra time editing. It just takes me a little extra time. Hopefully one of these days I can buy a newer used computer. um, since I do end up spending so much time on my desktop anyway, I'll probably keep my MacBook Pro and just buy an iMac, a used iMac that's only maybe 2 years old. And I'm that guy. I do not mind buying used equipment. I'll buy used equipment in a heartbeat. You know, I have a couple of old 40Ds, and that's what I shoot with, Canon 40Ds. I mean, they get me by, man. I mean, there's 10.1 megapixels, but I do okay. You know what I'm saying? I do okay. I just, I'm hoping maybe I can someday, buy a couple 7Ds. Yeah, I would like the nicer focusing system, but hey, I get by with what I have. It's, but in any case, this is me just plugging away at these little defects, and you can get really nitpicky. You can see my mouse, maybe my computer's working a little hard right now. I might actually click off that. I think I'm about to do that. Just a lot of this for me right now is just I'm going to eject my folder. And what is nice about Lightroom is I can eject that, and you'll see it'll just go to Smart Preview. And for me, that's what's nice about Smart Preview. It lets me, it may take a minute or two, but it lets me be a little faster. And then if you zoom out a little more, instead of being so tightly zoomed, it helps. For those of you that are like me and you're on a older computer, but it helps a lot too. Let me see. Some of these little blemishes are okay, and they'll come out when I soften the skin. So I'm not gonna. Whoops. It doesn't want to let me eject. You know what? Because my browser's connected to it. So, whoops. Yeah, that's what I get. And for me, you can. Oh, I forget the shortcut. There's several different ways to get rid of, like, let's see. I'll put that spot heal right there. Now, for me, it's easier just to right-click and then hit delete. I know there's another shortcut for that as well. What is it? Let's see. Let's put one right there. There's several different ways to go about doing most everything with Lightroom or with Photoshop. You know, for me personally, this is what I do. I right click and get rid of it. Like let's say I put this right there, okay, and I didn't like that spot. If I go back here and then hit select new source, it can pick a new source for you. But you know, like often it'll just go crazy and pick a source that's like super far away, and I can right click and hit select new source, and it'll do that really quickly for you. Or you can just move it around. Or I think I've heard of where you can hit option and do it. I mean, there's a ton of different ways to do things with these professional programs. So I've already got away most of the blemishes that I'm going to do. I'm going to take care of this one really quick too. Yeah, right now that browser's kind of slowing me down. That's what it is, because this is normally faster. Okay, so I've got the blemishes that I want away. Yeah, let's see. Let me go here and make sure that. And I know there's a shortcut for this, and I don't know. I'm so used to doing it that way that that's the way I keep doing it. Let's see. So, all right, I got most of the blemishes that I want. So then I go back to the eyes here. I like to, and I'll just click right there while I have the hand there, and it zooms into where I want on the eyes. I'll go to my, oh, what do they call this brush? The adjustment brush, and I kind of use the K for that. So it's the Q for the spot removal tool, and the K for the adjustment brush. I know some people like to click this and then go through all the different settings that are in the brush. I'm kind of really big on the shortcuts they have here. I like to do the teeth whitening to whiten the eyes. And if she was showing some teeth in this picture, I would use a new setting, a new brush for the teeth and the eyes, but it's an easy way for me to match the eyes to the teeth, you know what I'm saying? So that the teeth aren't too bright. You know, they're not like overpowering the whites of the eyes. I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but that's the way I do it. And sometimes using the teeth whitening will yellow out the eyes too much. The default setting is 60. When you do it this way and you don't have it expanded, and you're using the preset, it will default to 60 for me personally. I don't know about in your Lightroom for your computer, but for me this does a really good job. And I start at 60 so I know what it did, and I'll do both eyes like this so I make sure they're both equal. But if it comes out too yellow, and sometimes it can, then I'll go ahead and just switch it to exposure and adjust it that way. And sometimes I'll have to set another brush and kind of just go over it again and use one with exposure and then one with teeth whitening, and that'll get the eyes where I want them. Typically what I do is have a girl, when she first shows up for a shoot, even before she does makeup, she walks in the door, I say hi, go in the bathroom and put 3 drops in each eye. And that helps the redness and helps me editing later, you know what I'm saying? So I will typically lower this to at least a 50 or 45. I'll see what 45 looks, because I don't want the whites to be too powerful. I'll show you what I mean here in a second. Let me go back out here, and then you can see the eyes they're white, but I don't think they're too powerful at that 45 setting. You can see it's let me click back here again, and you can oof, forget it. It went back off. Sometimes that does that, man, and that is a little annoying. But if I go back to teeth whitening, it should, and click here again. No, I went back up to 60. Yeah, sometimes that does that, and I don't know why. Maybe hopefully someone can tell me why that does that, but it don't always go back. But if you go here, you know, it'll of course show you uh, red everywhere that you just made that adjustment. Um, so let me, since I am in portrait, I'll just leave it like that. So let me go back to the eyes again. Oops, darn it. Try not to make that mistake. If you do make it, then just hit Command X, Z, I'm sorry, Command Z, and that'll take out that last thing that you did there. Otherwise, if you're like me, you forgot, and then you go over that, and then you'll have a dark line or a big white mark right through your nose, like I just did there. So I want to hit a new brush, and I'm going to do this is my normal pattern. I do the whites, and then I do the iris, okay? And if I'm doing the iris, I'll put my little spot right here in the iris, and that way I know if I have to go back later, since this is everything Lightroom does is non-destructive. So if I have to go back, then I know where I made that adjustment at with that particular brush, you know, because every new brush will have a little spot with it. So that'll help me. Another thing is, you can see I have my feather at 76. I leave it there. Every adjustment I do is with 76, every single adjustment. The only thing I ever move is the size of my brush. My flow is always right there at 80 as well. It just stays there, and my density is always, that part always stays there no matter what I'm doing. It just always stays there. The only thing I really move around is the actual amount of this preset for the iris. I don't mind the way the preset is. I like it. So I'll leave this kind of big. I'll go over the whole iris, even the little black part. I don't just try to hit the iris. I go over everything, and it's pretty good. When I click this and expand it, you can kind of see more what they have it preset to, and so that's 40 is kind of low for me. Sometimes I'll put it up to a 45 or a 50, sometimes 60. Sometimes, but I just like a slight adjustment to the eye. Sometimes if the eye is really dark brown, then I'll lighten it up a little more. Like I said, sometimes to a 60, but generally just a little bit, just to enhance it a little bit. Okay, so I'm done with that part. I'll hit a new brush. I'll come over here to my box. Oops, I'm sorry. I didn't do the other eye. See? Boom, I'm making a mistake already. Let me go back to that other eye, and then, oof, making a mistake already. That's not good. Let's see, let me go back to the iris. Yeah, let me go back to that eye. Let me see and make sure yeah, I didn't do that other eye. Oof, got distracted. Which happens sometimes, I get distracted. But normally, like I say, I just got my music going, and I'm just going away here. All right, so now that one should be there. Let me go out a little bit here, and then I can double check and make sure both of those are. It'll come up red here in a second. Yeah. So then let me take that up to 47 or 50. That should be good. Okay, now I'll hit another one. Now I'm gonna start doing a little burning. I'm gonna do the eyelashes and the eyebrows. Okay, so I'm gonna go. Whoops, I just use this preset too for burn. It's good enough for me, man, and it keeps things quick. Like I say, everything is a lot faster when I'm not trying to do a screen share. Right, so I'll click here, and this is just what I do. When I do my burn-in, and I do burn-in on most images, and sometimes some dodging too, but I'll generally, if I'm doing the eyelashes, I'll just put it right here on this part of the eyebrow, and then I know that's just my pattern. That's what works for me, and so that's what I do. Okay, so I'm gonna do this eyeliner here. Okay, first I'll get the eyeliner with a small brush, and you can kind of see the circles, the inner circles, what I'm actually painting, okay? And then it's feathering out to the outer circle, okay? And then I'll start hitting these eyelashes, all right? And you can really do this as meticulously as you want. And for me, my preset, when I hit burn, will go to a -30, okay? And I typically will raise that, you know, but I'll leave it at where they have it and then adjust it later when I'm zoomed out and I can see what I'm doing. Now here, you know, with my lights and everything, the eyeliner, the eyebrows, the eyelashes, all those type of details get like faded because of the lights, you know, and so they need a little darkening up again. And so that's why I go ahead and retouch, and they make the eyes just pop. For me, the more contrasty and dark the eyeliner, the more it makes the eyes pop. It just boom. So you can brighten the eyeballs and still wonder why, like, how come that other image, you know, when he does an image, it just looks just that little bit more different. And for me, that's what it is. That's my little seasoning on that part. And I'll do both eyes the same. I'll go over here and go to this eyeball. Let me see. Let me double check those eyelashes though. I can't remember. I talked too much and then I can't remember what I did. So let me go over these eyelashes, make sure I get those. Yeah, I didn't get them. Okay. Then I'll go over here and I'll repeat the process over here. And I do try to do both eyes the same. Go over here, and this can be, you know, like I say, you can take as much time as you want here. I'll go over the bottom as well. Try to hit all these eyelashes. Okay, and then I'll zoom out a little bit. Hopefully fit will give me what I want. Fill, I'm sorry. So I'll go to fill here, and then I'll go back over to this 30, and I'll put it about 60 and see where it goes. It takes a second on my computer, like I said, and then yeah, see, so you can see that adjustment. And I, you know, for me that's typically good. I'll go ahead and do it at a 60, and then for some images I only want it at 40, -40. For some images I want it at -50, but for most I do want it at a -60. I do like a really dark eyeliner. And okay, so that's good enough for me. I'll do another one, okay, and I'll go back here and click in again. I'll put this other one right here on the eyebrow, and this time I'm actually doing the eyebrow, okay. And I'll raise my brush a little bit, make it a little bigger, and then I'll just gently go over this eyebrow. You gotta be really careful with this part because women spend, you know, if you're doing a woman especially, you know, guys too, guys tweeze their eyebrows now too, but women really, if you're doing women, just they really spend a lot of time doing their eyebrows, and they know how they did them. So if you make a mistake and, you know, you kind of trace their eyebrows the wrong way, you know, a woman will know that you kind of adjusted her eyebrows too much. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, so just be careful when you're doing that part. And I'll go ahead and leave her eyebrows at a -30. I think that that's okay for this particular image. All right. Let me see here. What else can I do? Oh, I'm gonna go back and add a little saturation to the shadow, and I'll do that with a brush, and I'll put that right here, that little spot right there. I'll leave that saturation. You can see the number. It's like a 33.89. It always is. For me, that's That's where all mine goes. And so I'll go over the shadow, and I kind of know how my makeup artist, how she does makeup, so I know where she adds color. So I automatically know that there's color under here as well. I already know that. So, and you can see it now that I've painted underneath that eye. You can see how some of that that purplish tone starts to come back out. You didn't really see it before. And I'll do the same thing on this eye. I'll hit up here too because I know sometimes she colors there as well. And I'll go underneath. Just make sure I get it really good. I'll go back to the fill so I can see both eyes at the same time. And I'll generally raise this to about a 40, 45, or 50. Just to make that shadow pop out a little more, okay? With this particular image here, the red just seemed to pop out too much. So there's a few adjustments I'm going to do to this. I already know what I have to do. I'm going to go here and just try to really get in on those lips. It just popped a little too much, so I'm gonna do two brushes on this. One being saturation. I'm gonna desaturate these lips a little bit. They were just popping a little too much. I have a recipe written right here on a notepad for these lips, and it's gonna matte them just a little bit. Just, everything's a little bit here. Let's say if I had to put a percentage number on it, so I do a 5% adjustment here, a 5% adjustment there, 5% adjustment here, and all those add up, and then pretty soon, before you know it, you've made a 30% or a 40% adjustment over your whole image. You know what I'm saying? Just a little at a time, here and there, here and there, here and there, and then before you know it, the whole image looks 40% better or 30% better, if you add them all up. So my saturation I want to take to a -9. I already have it written down. So I already know. Go to a new brush, and then let's see, I'm going to leave it at saturate. Well, oh shoot, what was that other one? Doggone it. I'll tell you what, let me just close that one out. Let me go back out again. I forgot what that other, I thought I had that other one written down, but I didn't. Let me go back to this other one here. And that's what makes it nice, is you can just go back on this one so that I can see what, it just takes a second or two for me here. Come on, man. -4 and -9. Okay. Ah, okay, 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 I got it. I got it. Okay, it was exposure. I got it now. All right, sorry about that. So yeah, I gotta go back over here to exposure. Let me go to the browser and make sure there's no one asking questions or anything. Yeah, I don't see anything. Okay. So yeah, sometimes you just forget, but it's a good thing that you can go back and pick back up where you left off here. Let me see. This one, yeah, they were both saturation, right? Yeah. And, oh, that one just says custom. I don't want that one anymore. What was the shortcut here? I forget what the shortcut was. So let me take saturation, -9. Like I said, I had the little recipe written here, but I forgot what the other one was. So now that I remember, I'll just hit a new brush, go back here again, and then the other one was exposure. So normally I don't have to do this, but it's one of them deals where, you know, sometimes it just, you know, something doesn't look right after you photograph it. So you have to adjust it here. So I'll go to exposure and just, it went down to where I last had it typically. So let me bring this up to it. Oops. And sometimes if you can't get it exactly, it just helps to go over here and just dial it in. And that way it's right where you wanted it. And that's a little more mute right there. It's not quite as powerful, if you will. And let's see here. Oh, someone's texting me. Let me see what it is really fast. Okay. Yeah, that's a little bit more dialed down, just a little bit. Like I say, everything for me is just a little bit here, a little bit there. And now that I have the hand, I'll move the face right where I want it. And then I'll make my, I like to make my uh, skin adjustments, my smoothing skin. I use the smooth skin brush, and I'll lower that to about a 60, somewhere between 60 and 65. That's generally where I'll make each adjustment. I don't like to just go 100 right off the bat and take large chunks with this smooth skin. I like the smooth skin preset. I think it's just fine. But I also do it in small chunks. I'll do my first one like this over all the skin. Sometimes even the second one over all the skin. And then little by little, I'm just going to hit the chunks that still need it. You know what I'm saying? And that way, the skin still has pores to it and looks a little more natural, because I do like pores in the skin still. I don't like it to look too plasticky. So I'll pretty much, and you see me adjusting my brush size as I'm going over the different levels here. And like I say, the inner circle is where I'm actually painting, and the outer circle is just feathering out. You know what I'm saying? I'll hit the nose on the first brush. Sometimes I don't, though. It depends on the image. And I'll be really careful going over this part, and that hard line there I want to make sure I go over. And I want to try to make sure I go over this part here. I don't want that darn line there to show up. Not I want to make sure to go up in here, and I do make sure to go up into the hair here. It shouldn't affect the hair, just the skin. So I'll go here. Okay, I pretty much hit all that. I'll worry about the face right now, and then I'll do the body. Any part of the body that's exposed, I'll do that in a second when I'm done with the face. So I'll hit another brush. I put it right here on the forehead as well. I put my little marker here. You can see where all my marks are, right? I have one in the white of the eyes. That's where I made that adjustment. The iris, I put that in the iris. My two burns that I did, one's for the eyebrows, one's for the eyelashes. That's just typical. You know what I'm saying? They're always in the same places for me. Skin adjustments for the whole face are right here on the forehead. The ones for the lips, if I do them, sometimes I don't even touch the lips, are on the lips. And then I'm going to do one more adjustment over the whole face here, okay? And then but if, like, let's say, well, you'll see in a second. Let me do this adjustment over the whole, let's see, over the whole face here again. And like I say, I'll go over the hair here. It shouldn't affect the hair too much. And if I didn't use a makeup artist, I'm not quite as sensitive to the makeup as far as softening the makeup. But if I did use a makeup artist, I'm really sensitive to that part. So if I feel like And that's the good thing of having two monitors, because I can have one really zoomed in and one not. You know, the one I'm working in is slightly zoomed in, but not as much as the other one, that's for sure. And so I can see right away that, you know, that I don't necessarily need to go into the eyelid and so forth and soften that. I can pretty much leave that the way it is. Okay, so I can hit this. All right, go over the little mustache area, you know, the topper lip, the upper topper lip, the upper lip, and hit all that. Okay, so this is actually looking okay just with that. I'll hit one more brush. Now this one, since I am going to, if I were just going to hit this cheek area or maybe the side of the face over here, I would put a marker, this spot right on the cheek. Or if I was going to hit this cheek and just, you know, just area here, I would put it somewhere in that area. If since I'm going to do the middle of the forehead only with this particular brush, then and you see like it stays right where I pretty much had it. So every adjustment has been a 62 or 63, somewhere in that range, with the skin softening. So now I'm just doing just this one part, and that's it. Just the part that I felt needed it, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just doing little chunks at a time, and you can see there's still some pores here, but I'm leaving those. I personally like to leave. I don't want it looking too fake. You know what I'm saying? It's obvious you did something to the skin, but I don't want it to look too fake. You know. So I'll close that, and then I'll zoom all the way out on this photo I'm working on right here. Okay, and if you wanted to see it full screen, you could just hit the F. Whoop! But for some reason, it's not. I don't know. For the screen share, it's not doing it. It's just weird. Um, I think the face looks okay for me personally, so I'll go back over here. I'll get one more brush, and I'll make this one kind of big. Put the marker on the shoulder. So now I know if I have to go back to this image later, I know that that's that's where I made that adjustment. You know what I'm saying? It's all based on if I have to go back to it later, then I know, you know, where I made that adjustment at. And it just makes it so much easier if you ever do have to go back. Now, the backs of the arms, a lot of people have those, that like rash looking kind of redness and so forth. It might take a few brushes to get that, you know, and so that I take the time personally and do that. I'll put another marker right here and just hit more of that. I don't want to do the whole shoulder because the rest of it looked okay. It's just this part right here that's a little more sensitive. And on my second monitor, I'm looking at that in more detail, and it saves me time, kind of. It still takes a few minutes, and then, like I said, certain parts of this are slowed down because I am doing the screen share, but pretty much, yeah, just hit that a little more. Maybe one more brush and go over it just a little more, just in that one area, and I'm good. Okay, all right, now I'm good. Now you can see when I bring my mouse back over here, you can see the total number of adjustment brushes that I used on this image, right? So far. Sometimes I'll actually lower shadows in the hair if I want more of these highlights to come out in her hair. Different things. If I had to do some dodging, sometimes I'll do some dodging, like in the inner parts of the eye if they stay too dark, or for bags, I'll do some dodging. Just different little things. This particular image, I just didn't need it. At least I don't feel that I need it. And then I like to use this new, with Lightroom 5, these radio filters. I use the heck out of these things. I love them. For me, this first filter you use will, and it's set to, I don't know what, and I don't really worry about it. I just put the circle the way I want it. Okay, so I do that. I wait for that little circle thing that for me it takes a few seconds to pop up. Then I can move it down to where I want it, and I want to bring the focus of the attention right to the face and the eyes. And this will help me do that. You'll see in a second. Right, it must be set on skin softening still or something. Sometimes that radio filter will take on the last thing that you did with your adjustment brush, and it's not a big deal. You can switch it here in a second, as you'll see. So it's still set right there. I want to make sure that for my taste it's where I want it. This you'll see changes. So right now it's a straight line with the two arrows up and down. That'll adjust the size of my circle here. Or when you see it kind of curved like that, it'll let it turn. So I want to turn it just a little bit, and then go back down here and stretch it out just a little more, and then bring it to the side here and widen it a little more. There. Okay, so now I can come over here to this custom and hit exposure. That should go to a negative something. Yeah, negative 38. And like I say, for my computer, it takes a few seconds. There it goes. And I'll play around with this part. Since it's already close to 40, it's a negative 38. I might take it to like a negative 48. I said negative 40. You know, it's a negative 38 right now. I might take it to a negative 48 instead of a 50. You know what I'm saying? So I'll just move that one number for 48. So it's close to 50. And you can kind of see how it really brings that attention to the eyes, to the face, all that work we just did. It really brings that attention in there. And then down here, I like to use the color priority vignetting for the post-crop vignetting. And I typically will put that about a negative at first, just to see what it's giving me. This one, yeah, there we go. And I kind of like that look a little bit. It does some crazy things around her hair here, and sometimes that's what I mean. Like I might bring out some highlights or some shadows in her hair a little bit to bring out the different colors in her hair. But yeah, I think I can live with that. And that pretty much would be kind of done. You could just play around with that just to see what it looks like. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go to shadows, all right? And I'll just leave it at the, like I said, I'll use these presets like crazy. Normally this goes a lot faster, and so I'll just use the presets, and I'll leave that one right where it's set. So I'll put this one in her hair, as you can tell. That way I know where I'm at later. And I might leave my brush a little smaller and just paint in random places where I see that the highlights in her hair are already at, and where we might want to bring that out at. Even though my computer's slow, I kind of know where I'm painting, and it'll catch up here in a minute. And I'll make sure to go on this side carefully. It'll catch up in a minute. It's a little slow, but it'll catch up here in a minute. And you can see that's just a little slight thing, but it overall helps, you know. And you can see if I put my mouse back over that spot, it'll show us in red in a minute. Like I say, everything takes a few seconds here for me, but it'll show us in red what I just did. Okay, it's taking a little longer than normal. Come on, man. Don't tell me it didn't do anything. It's still catching up, apparently. Come on. So maybe it didn't do anything. Let me go back in and redo some of this. Mostly this little top part here. Kind of bring out these shadows a little bit. And I can see it working. I don't know about you guys, but I can definitely see it on my end. It's just a matter of, I don't know. Come on, man. I think I can speed that up by just clicking that, and it'll show the mask right away. Let's see. I guess not. Boy, everything's really moving slow. Huh. Yeah, everything's moving slow as heck. Anyway, for me, that's looking okay. I'll just move on. I could go through and I just might come back later and take that hair out. And that the spot healing tool in Lightroom 5 does a really good job of that. It'll take that right out. Sometimes you have to do it in pieces, you know, little at a time, but eventually that hair will come out. I mean, it's not like using Photoshop for Christ's sake, but it's you know, it can be pretty quick without having to leave Lightroom and come back. You know what I'm saying? Because if you get into Photoshop, sometimes you can get so distracted that you end up spending an eternity in that program. Uh, and this would be my next image. But let me make sure I don't have anybody commenting or anything over here. You know what? I kind of wish there was a timer in Hangout so you could see how long you've been doing this. I don't have any idea right now. Boy, my video quality is junk. My huh. But in any case, that's pretty much my flow here. Let me go back to this image and do a few more little adjustments here in my in my tone curve here. Now, what's cool about the tone curve is you can go here, okay, this little arrow up and down deal. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? You can't see, huh? I haven't been sharing the screen this whole time, man. I'm sorry. No way. Oh, man, you gotta be kidding me. I'm sorry. Jeez. I'm a lousy host here. I couldn't see it. Um, I better turn off that other screen is what I better do. That way I can see what, yeah, that way I can see what I'm, otherwise, but yeah, this one here, so this is the hair I was talking about earlier, and good grief, I was, I'm sorry. So these are all, you can see the adjustments here, all the different brushes. These three are on the shoulder, two on the lips, one on the white of the eyes, the one on the iris, two on the eyebrow. But one of those that it's on the eyebrow, I don't know, the closest to the nose is, you can see here. See how and then this one it should show the eyelashes. Oh, that was for the eyebrows. This one's for the eyelashes, I guess. Anyway, they're too close. That's what it is. It keeps hitting the other one for the eyebrows. Anyway, these three on the forehead, two of them are for the whole face, and then the one is just for that one middle spot of the forehead. And that's all. And then this adjustment is for the hair. And so you can see that, and that's my usual pattern. If I were to go back, let me see here. Let me pull up my, what do they call this? I forget what they call it. But if I were to go back here to another image, you'll see I have that same pattern. Yeah, like I say, my computer's a little slow. Oh, you don't get to see the little spinning thing, huh? Heck, you can't see my film strip. That's what they call it, the film strip. You can't see my film strip for that matter. But if I go back to this image, see how you can see, I made the shoulder and like for the body. These two are for the lips. That one I actually made another skin adjustment right here on the upper lip. You can see there's one. And this time instead of putting it on the eyebrow, since the eye is closed, I put it right on the eyelash itself. This was obviously probably for the eyeshadow to add some saturation. This was another burn for the eyelashes. And then two of these I'm sure were for the total face, and then two more probably for these different areas right here of the forehead. But that's usually my workflow, so that I know exactly where I made those adjustments with the adjustment brush. But yeah, let me go back over here to this other image, and I'll just hit my arrow keys on the keyboard, and it'll take me over. It should. Just takes a second. Back to this tonal curve here, you can see the, or can you? I guess you can't see the whole, doggone it. Man, this whole time I thought you could see the, but you can't. So let me pick this screen. I'm sorry, man. Jeez, I'm blowing it. There we go. There. So now you can see, oh my goodness. Okay, so now you can see the up and down arrows here in the tonal curve box. So what's nice is everywhere you see that, you can click that and then go see, like here in the in this box here, there's another one, and this adjusts all the different like the color, the saturation, the luminance of your different colors and all that. You can do all that right here, and click that, and then go to your different part of your image and adjust that directly. Let me close this brush because I'm not using that anymore. But if I were to click this, you can see how I have this deal here. Now for me, I can just go right over this and just go up or down on my mouse, and it's adjusting that part of the image, you know. So as I'm going right here, it's showing me, okay, that's the highlights. That's mostly highlights. And then as I move around my image, you know, and then click, it's showing me that that's the different, you know, that it's, let's see, this is the lights, this is the highlights, this is, you know what I'm saying? It's showing me different parts of what's going to be affected if I slide it up and down. So this is the highlights portion. So I'm just going to slide up and down on my mouse, and it'll slightly adjust that, just that part of the curve. So in this case, it lowers the highlights for me. I thought they're a little bit too glowy, you know what I'm saying? And it takes that down. Boy, if that is true, what you're seeing on your side, this image looks a little too warm, maybe. But for me right here, it looks okay. It's yeah, I'm at 4,550 Kelvin, so I think it's fine. But yeah, no, that to me, that image is done. Whoops, darn it. That happens sometimes too. My film, I'll go down here, I just want to click done, and then my film strip pops up, and then I end up clicking on a whole different image, and I got to go back here. It slows me down completely because I'm on a slower machine as it is. Sometimes these things really annoy, and that's where knowing all the shortcuts. There's a million shortcuts in these programs, though, and it just gets really confusing. But for me, sometimes if I can just click that, or you can go back right here and just click this, and that'll turn it off too. So there's just 100 different ways to do everything. There's always a few different ways to do the same thing. You know, some people like keyboard shortcuts. Some people like to actually click on a button. Some people like to just click right back where they started. You know what I'm saying? There's a bunch of different ways to turn on and off the same thing. So whatever works for you, find whatever works for you and stick with it. You can see I have my little patterns, and there's no correct way to do it. But that's that image right there. That image is pretty much done. So I'll go ahead and turn the screen share off, and then if you have any questions, then we can just you know, talk about it. In the meantime, I'll just finish this beer, and if someone has a question, you can just ask. You know what I'm saying? Um, you know, I don't mind. You know what I'm saying? So, but right now I'm still, yeah, finishing up that same beer. It's really good. I am not sure. No way, really? Is it? Oh, it's already been an hour. Wow, that was quick. Okay, so I think it's already been an hour, right? This thing says it started at 3:12, and right now it's 4:21. So yeah, that's over an hour. So all right, man. I hope this helped somehow. I know that I wasn't on the screen share all the time, but I hope this helps somehow. Hope it helps somebody. So maybe my workflow is different than yours, and there's some little tip that you picked up, and but that's my normal workflow for getting an image done in Lightroom 5. Whatever this Lightroom is, what is it? Lightroom, let me see. 5.4. Uh, yeah, 5.4. Yeah, Camera Raw 8.4. So that's what that is. I wish that you had the same capabilities, and I know a lot of other people do too. I wish we had the same capabilities um, that you do when you're using what is it, Canon software, where you can actually see your focus, your focus points. I wish you could do that so that in Lightroom, because that would be super helpful, man. Uh, Instead of having to leave Lightroom and then go into Canon software. And I don't know if it's the same for Nikon or not. I have no idea, but it would be nice if you could do that and see. For me, I use an old camera, so I still have the 9 focus points. Oi, don't remind me. But it would be nice to see, your focus, where you were focused in Lightroom. And God, I'm sure they could do it. And maybe someone has a hack for it. I don't know. If someone has a hack for it, let me know, and I'll definitely use it, because I would love to just be in Lightroom and see where my focus point was. It would be really helpful instead of having, because half the time I don't really look. I just, and I know that information is in there. I just, I know that Adobe, who knows, maybe that's just an agreement that Canon has with Adobe. I don't know, but it would be helpful for me to see my focus points as a learning tool, so that when I go back to previous images, I can see, okay, this is where I used to focus, and now I focus right here, or this is how I frame when I'm using that focal point, and that's why it's framed the way it is, and cropped the way it is, or so things like that would be very helpful, especially, God, when you only have 9 focus points. Okay, man. I think that's pretty much it, right? I'm gonna go ahead and go, and like I say, man, if you have any questions, just ask them. Right, man? Laters.